So today I'm testing the Godox V350N and the Hasselblad X1D Mark II. Now, this video is not camera and flash specific. I'm going to show you how I use a flash on camera, like literally on camera, in TTL mode, and the workarounds to make it work better given the different situations you're in. For me, it's testing the flash with the camera, see how they react together, see how TTL reacts with this camera. Now, with Hasselblad, the Nikon version works fantastic in most cases because it is the same TTL system. But, for events, I'm shooting a wedding on Friday, I'm taking this with me. I want to make sure I know this flash and this camera, its quirks, its strong points, its weak points. But learning how to use a flash in TTL, given the different situations you're in, is very helpful because a lot of times people just throw it on here, set their camera settings the way they set them, and the flash doesn't react correctly. So I'm going to give you some tips and ideas on how to make this work better in TTL, which work for me. They may not work for you, but they should. Anyway, enjoy the video. We'll go through this, do a shoot, and see how this does. And how the camera does for me as well, because like I said, this is not camera specific, but it's camera specific for me. Anyway, enjoy the video. If you have any questions, leave them below as always. And thanks for watching.
Now, like I said on the intro, this is not camera and flash specific. This goes for literally any camera and flash combination. Now, the first thing people do when they pick up a camera is they set it to aperture priority, ISO auto, and shoot. Now, with a flash on top, believe me, like especially this flash is pretty accurate. So I'm going to get an accurate photo, on her. But the situation is I can't control the ambient light with ISO being set on auto. I want specifically, so you can see it's beautiful light, but this is ISO 6400. I have no control over this. The camera's going to pick everything, and I don't want that. The next thing I'm going to do is set this to manual, and I'm going to set my ISO to 800. This is just my starting point. I want to see where it's at, what kind of exposure I get out of this. I'm staying in f4, and I'm at 1/80th of a second. I like to stay at 1/80th of a second because there's always motion in events, and I don't want any kind of blur. Remember, your strobe is not going to freeze this if you want ambient light in the photo. Now, this is underexposed. It's not what I'm looking for, and there's two reasons for this. The ISO 800, I can definitely have gotten it out of this, but I want that playroom. I want that 1/80th of a second because I want to freeze with the camera. And believe me, the flash is going to help a little bit, but you'll still get motion blur at a lower shutter speed. So I'm almost there. I do like this, the look of it, but her skin was underexposed. So my next step is to put this on spot meter. The reason for this is because I'm obviously focusing on her face. And okay, I'm actually going to center weighted, not complete spot yet, so you'll have an idea of the difference with this. This is a lot better. I'm getting the exposure I want. She can still be a little bit brighter, if you will. Now, remember, when you're in manual mode, this next one I'm going to go to direct spot, so it's only going to meter off of her face. But when you're in manual mode, the only thing your meter's doing is telling the TTL flash what to do, because it's not going to change your exposure whatsoever because you're in manual. I'm at 1/80th of a second, I'm at 1600 ISO, I'm at, the shutter speed, the aperture, nothing's changing except the camera is telling the flash how much light to put out. And that's the only thing I'm doing. Now, I always go up close like this because, again, I'm in spot meter, so it's going to meter off of her face, but a lot of flashes can't handle a close-up shot like that. And that's why I go close. I really need to know everything about this flash. Now, outside, I stayed with spot meter. Usually I go to a center weighted when I'm outside. I wanted just a little bit of control on the light, but you can see this is it's a little overexposed, not much. And I also have the diffuser off the flash. I'm putting that back on just to soften the light a little bit. I apologize. I shouldn't say soften. I should say diffuse the light a little bit. Because people, if they have shiny skin, or oily skin, if you will, it'll just bring it out. It just glows with a flash. So with the diffuser on, it helps soften that just a little bit. Anyway, so I wanted to try this again outside because I want to see what this flash can do. I'm at a good distance now. I'm probably 9 feet away from her. Even with the diffuser on, it's still going to give me a little bit of pop in the face, just to brighten it up just a little bit. I'm still on manual. I set my exposure for the surroundings, and again, when this camera meters now, the only thing it's metering is for that flash and the TTL to tell the flash how much light to put out. That's it. So even with manual mode and your TTL flash, it's very, very important to select what metering you want. And if you want her to be correctly exposed with a flash, you're going to have to close down that area that the meter reads off of, which is spot or center weighted. Full matrix metering is going to measure everything for that flash, and it'll give you the wrong flash exposure. And then I went inside because I really wanted to test this more. White background. I had, the 2 black sides. It did an okay job, but it just wasn't great. The exposure was fine, but it didn't have the look that I love, because it's a little bit off the camera. It's not like the flashes I use directly on the camera. Now I just put the white wall up, and I'm bouncing the flash off the white wall into her, but she's still getting some, and I have the black on the other side. You can see the shininess because I'm close. Even with the diffuser on, it's going to give that shiny look. So not the greatest look. But again, this is all testing for an event. I want to know where I could be, how far I could be from the people. If the flash requires me to be just a little bit further from them, I want to remember that for the event, and I can crop in later. These are just straight out of camera because I really wanted to show you the difference of, the lights coming from the right side onto the model. Now, and I bounced that flash from the left. There's an awkward look to a photo when you take the flash and bring it in the opposite side from the natural light. And it bugs the heck out of me. You'll be able to see it, but, when you get a photo and you're using flash and you're pulling light from the opposite side of the natural light, you'll understand it. It just, something about it will just drive you, because it just doesn't look natural. And the white wall being, bounced flash back in from the natural light is great. Even if I put a strobe over there and bounced it in off the wall, it's still going to be a fill versus a straight flash. And I don't even like that. I want that light coming from the same side as the natural light. Anyway, again, this is just me playing with this flash, versus the natural light, so you can see that part of it. But I want to see what the flash is capable of, what it can do, what kind of output it has, and, what metering mode I should use for the distance that I'm at. And I change metering modes on the fly because I really want to know how I'm going to get the best exposure if I am using TTL. Now, this is very flat. It's on camera flash because the light's coming in from the right is still not going to overpower this because I'm very close. If I bounce it off that white wall again, I'm going to get a decent image, but it's not that look that I love. I would rather bounce it off the same side as the natural light or the more powerful light coming in on the person. And that goes for events as well. Look where your light's coming from. It may be coming from a DJ booth. It may be coming from, a window. Make sure you're putting your light bounced in the same direction. And if you can't bounce it, just turn it down. Use the ambient light as much as you can and just use this for fill. I hope this helped.